How do we know the device doesn't actually think that there are people here? Because he doesn't peek this corner. He just shift walks around this corner. He's like, maybe there's somebody there, but more than likely I'm beating this person here, so I don't actually have to peek this angle. I can just shift walk past it with my crosshair roughly in the right position. See, now he's starting to think, okay, now there could be somebody here. He doesn't really address any of these angles as he comes up. And here's the thing, right? When I see lower level players, when I'm doing coaching and stuff like that, one of the things I see is that very low level players, beginner players, very, very early players, they will just shift walk everywhere. Well, first they'll run everywhere, and then when you tell them about shift walking, then they'll shift walk everywhere, and they won't clear any angles, like they won't peek any angles, so they'll shift walk past him like he was doing there, right? And then when you start to get a little bit higher, you'll get people who feel like they need to peek every little angle in case there might be somebody there, because they're not thinking about the timing or whatever. And then as you get higher, then you see stuff like this with Device, where he knows in his head, he knows what angles they could be at and what they can't be at. So he's making a read on where they're going to be and where they won't be, which is why he's keeping his crosshair roughly in the right position in case they walk into him. But he's continuing to move the whole time. Like here, this crouch is maybe the only time that he actually considers an angle. Like here, he's like, even there, he's like, maybe they could be waiting for me there. I don't think so, though. So because he continues to move, it's here where he goes, okay, now they might walk into me. Now I'm gonna jiggle a little bit. Maybe they're coming down. Okay, and I'm gonna clear through here. And that's the difference that you're gonna see, right? Is that like you have to start thinking about timings and stuff like that, and where people can and can't be, and it pays to be more cautious, right? It pays to clear individual angles, and especially in lower level play, people don't take natural timings. Decision making is often stretched out over longer periods of time because people don't have that same comfortability with the game to make those instant reads. So clearing a lot of individual angles is safer for you by far, because people can be wherever in lower elos, but it will cost you time. And if you're going to take a timing, there's some angles that, like, if you're trying to get somewhere on a certain timing, you're going to have to give up certain angles. You're going to have to say, if they're there, I lose. But if I need to take this timing in order to win the round, like I need to be in a certain position before they can rotate here or whatever, then you're going to have to give up some angles. If you don't have that pressure on you, in lower elos especially, it pays to kind of jiggle peek every angle. Not shift walk, but kind of, actually peek and address each angle as you go through it. It'll get you a lot of free kills that way. Let's look at the initial pick that he goes for here. So he has the op out. They show his spawn. No, not really. But he gets one of the deeper spawns, and so he's going to run. He's going to go take... They're going to drop the bomb and go for a default here. They're going to go 2 con, and he's going to post up on the guy con here. And Borup's going to molly up higher on the stairs, and then he's going to play anti-flash here for a second. Assuming that on the timing, their only play is that they're going to have to flash and get in front of the molly, or they're going to have to back out, right? So he's going to play anti-flash in case they have a set play where the guy's going to flash and then swing in front of the molly, and Device is posted in case he just dry swings. Which is unlikely in this elo, but could happen in general. Playing anti-flash. This is what it means to play anti-flash. If you are a beginner player, or a new player, or you just haven't heard of it, this is what it means to play anti-flash. You're only really going to play anti-flash when you have someone else doing what Device is doing and holding your angle, right? Holding the angle that they're going to peek from. Now, you can play anti-flash as a solo player, but then you're making a risk. You're taking a chance that they might not just flash. They might just not flash, and then what are you going to do? Traditionally, this is how the setup works. One player is going to be facing away, so they won't get blind to the flash. One player is facing forwards, so they can shoot him if they don't flash. That's it. That's all it takes to play anti-flash. And the important thing here also to note is how they're positioned, right? Borup is hugging the wall, so he won't be seen first. The person who will be seen first, the person who will take first contact is Device. whether they flash or not. The person who will take first contact is device, right? If Borup was hugging the other wall on his left or our right, then he would be able to be seen first by the guy on stairs inside con. And then there's no point to play anti-flash because you're going to get first contact. Device can't trade you and you're going to die. So you want to make sure that that's your positioning, that you were in a place where your teammate is taking first contact if you are the anti-flash player. Let him go in. Wait for this moment to happen where he's going to molly off the stairs and device is going to be able to hold. Once that's over, then you can turn back around because they can't flash. They're not going to flash you and run through your molly while it's down, which is what they're waiting for. They're waiting for the molly to be down, and that's going to separate them. That's going to force them to make a read. Please, 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 if you are going to play anti-flash, which is a great thing to do, say, hey, I'm playing anti-flash. I'm playing anti, right? I'm waiting for this guy to flash, and if they flash, I'm not going to be blind, so it's my responsibility to turn around and take that guy out, right? That is a great thing to do when you're playing a team that has flashes available, right? Whether it be in VALORANT or CSGO. It's a great thing to do. Please do it with your teammates. Please call it out to your teammates. Communicate with your teammates that you're doing that. Make sure that you're in the right position so you don't mess it up. Because I've seen too many people in Silver Elo who are trying to do that, right? Silver, gold, in VALORANT, that kind of thing, and they're just in the wrong position. And then they die from it. And then they wonder, why would I play anti-flash? And then there's why, right? But you also, if you're going to be the one taking responsibility to actually play anti-flash, you got to be able to turn around and trade after the flash comes through. But yes, that's good. Good positioning by Borup, as to be expected, right? But good understanding of what to do here. So it's quick though for him. In some lower elos, you'll if you're gonna post for a while on an angle, you might have a guy who's playing anti-flash for a while. Especially the perfect one I can think of is B long on bind in VALORANT, where you might walk up that entire length with one person facing away and one person holding, because that is a great position to flash as an opponent and swing, because that's a narrow corridor that people have to walk up, right? And in order to, get to that position, and also are very vulnerable to flashes at. So having someone play anti-flash there, that might be an extended period of them walking with their backs completely turned to where the enemy might peek from. And in the same way, when they're walking up, they need to be hugging the right side of the wall, as the person who's taking first contact, who's actually looking, needs to be walking up the left wall. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I think he sees something move and flicks down. Kill him to knock. And Kakanito tries to trade. Device is able to get out of there. And this is why movement is so important. Like, this seems like really basic movement, but this is something that's so important for oppers to do. He gets the kill, and he's instantly switching to his knife and jumping away. There's no... You're not even going to see the animation of his gun taking the shot. You understand what I'm saying? Like, there's no... like with the gun recoiling back. No. He takes a shot, switches to his knife, and he's getting out of there because he knows that there's going to be a teammate there. And sure, Stare could trade him if the guy takes an extended fight with Device, but it's just better for him to get out anyway. And then he's going to throw a smoke here. And then he's going to peek into bathrooms, which they could have been at. They could have been at that angle. But it's unlikely that they're holding that well if they're also trying to swing divider. He's just walking into angles now. He's feeling confident. He's feeling strong. He's looking for fights. He jiggles that maybe a little bit wider than he really should have. But... overall, besides talking about the fundamentals that the team is putting on, as an opper, it's okay to play on the same site multiple rounds in a row, but you still need to mix up your looks, even if you're on the same site, taking different fights in different angles. And also, just because you're an opper doesn't mean that you can't be a good support player too, right? Being able to use your utility effectively for your teammates to set them up for fights that maybe you wouldn't be advantaged in, you have to understand that, like, the op has its advantages, clearly, but it also has its disadvantages in terms of movement, and, the ability to get multi-kills quickly. setting your teammates up for looks that could provide those things that you can't provide on the op is very important. Being able to throw those set flashes, to throw those mollies, to throw smokes for your teammates is not something that's gone out the window just because you have big boomstick in your hand and you can one shot kill someone, right? It's important that you're still a valuable member of the team in terms of what you can provide with fundamentals, communication, and utility wise.